Your secrets, if you really look at yourself, you would be speechless. What happened to being doctors and teachers? What happened to being your brother's keeper? Nowadays, kids more worried about.
Hi, my name is Monique from Moyana here on YouTube, and you are now watching BandClap TV.
You're in the mix with the DJ always banging the
My little baby, change your bracelet. That's the whole break. Gonna watch that. Yeah, I'm on work. If you want that, is your road. Be precise. My little baby, change your life. That's the whole break on your ice. Oh yeah. One night, we need more than night, yeah. It's all mine, see you on sight, yeah. On sight, girl, you miss your flight, yeah. So excited, been waiting to get with you. Oh yeah, instant love through pictures. Get your chance, baby, don't miss it. Let you say, I'm the best you never had. I'm the best you never had. My little baby, change your bracelet. That's the whole break. Gonna watch. Yeah, I'm on work. If you want, is your road. Be precise. Change your life. On your ice. Oh yeah. The bag. I can't go back. I won't do that. Straight, nothing personal. Myself, yeah, I'm first. Been waiting to get with you. Oh yeah, instant love through pictures. Get your chance, baby, don't miss it. Hey. I'm the best you never had. I'm the best you never had. My little baby, change your bracelet. That's the whole break. Gonna watch that. Yeah, I'm on work. If you want that, is your road. Be precise. My little baby, change your life. That's the whole break on your ice. Oh yeah.
Alright y'all, so we back. Welcome to another BandClap TV rant video. Yeah, I mean, hope y'all was rocking with that remix that I did. Like I told y'all, when I first got into DJing, I started out making chop and screw music because I love doing it so much. I just love listening to chop and screw music so much. Ever since I was in, I would say like the 9th or 10th grade. So it's always been a passion of mine. Now, I'm no Michael Watts or DJ Screw or any of them, but you know, I can do my thing. And shout out to the pioneers in Texas of chop and screw music. So just in case y'all was wondering, the submission podcast has now been posted on Godfather Tank D's Living Black Life YouTube channel. I only posted like 37 minutes of it on my channel, but if you want to watch the full 2-hour show, it's now available, so y'all can check that out and definitely support that brother because he's doing great things over there on his channel. And I just like to uplift my brothers and my soul family. Shout out to my girl Moyana for the intro. And this is another thing that I'm gonna start doing, not only for my rant videos, but also if any of you all got a YouTube channel that y'all would like for me to promote, or you got any products or anything that you would like for me to make an ad and promote it on my podcast or anything like that, shoot me an email at shopmeliamar@gmail.com and I'll let you know all the things that you would need to do in order for us to get that popping, because I really like helping people out. And if I can do anything on my end, even though my channel is still growing, I don't mind doing that because it was somebody that helped me to get to where I'm at, even though I'm still climbing. So pretty much this past week I've been working. In Orlando, we're getting ready for EDC, which is a huge EDM type of festival that goes on every year here and also in Vegas. So me being a stagehand, I've been working non-stop since the 29th. Shout out to my mom, because the 29th was my mom's birthday. And also rest in peace to the great brother John Witherspoon, who was also making his transition on the 29th. And I'm gonna bring him up again later on in this video, because it's just a coincidence that on the Boondocks, John Witherspoon's name was Granddad, aka Mr. Freeman, and my last name is Freeman. And also I gotta give a shout out to my ancestor, my granddad, which was the original Mr. Freeman, because he passed away when I was 3. So I've just been grinding non-stop, trying to get this money together to take care of the legal things with my truck. So during this time, from now to at least the 15th, I knew it was going to be extremely damn near impossible for me to make any videos for my channel, because I just get home way too late at night. But today, as I was going to work, when I got there, I ended up getting turned around, so I had to end up going back home, which was something that I was kind of pissed off about, because I really need this money to do what I need to do. But sometimes spirit does things for a reason. And on my way home, I came up with this really informative question, which is what I titled this podcast: what type of dreamer are you? So though I've been busy these past couple weeks, as the great sister Lovely T would say, today I got time, cuz. So we gonna dive into this subject, because I feel that in this day and time that we're living in, being able to still dream and being able to still have that type of outlet to connect you to something outside of this system that we're living in is gonna be very important, especially in the years to come. So first of all, let's start out by looking at the etymology of the word dream. And it says that it is a sequence of sensations or images passing through the mind of a sleeping person. But then once we start going deeper and deeper into the etymology of this word, in Old High German, dream actually means deception, illusion, or phantasm. Sources also say that it means to deceive or delude. In the Old Norse language, it means ghost or apparition. And in Germanic Sanskrit, it can also mean to seek harm, injure, to lie, or deceive. Now, when you think about this word in just a literal type of sense, I mean, we all know what that means. We all know what dreams are. But now the question is, and this is a question that a lot of us in the conscious community like to ponder, is what is a dream and what is reality? Because when you think about what that etymology definition said about illusion, deception, injuring, seeking to harm, to lie, and to deceive, almost 98% of those things that I named is something that happens in life while you're awake. Because when you're in the dream state, your physical body, which can receive pain and which can be injured, is no longer connected to your astral body. So you can go through a lot of things in your dream, but it's not going to affect you when you wake up from that dream. Even if you was in a lot of agony and a lot of pain and going through a lot of stuff, when you wake up and you're just laying in your bed, just like, damn, I'm glad all that was just a dream, because it was only an illusion. But the illusion never lasts long. Now, another way we can look at this word is when we talk about our aspirations. You know, we all have hopes and dreams. What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is we all have this higher representation of the type of person that we would be if we were able to carry out our life's purpose, and what that would look like in a visualization type of manner. And it only takes a strong-willed type of person to be able to turn those dreams into reality, because most people out here, like I said in my last video about my own family, a lot of them, they gave up on their dreams a long time ago, and they were deceived and they were lied to that their dreams weren't real. So now you're in this matrix that's controlled by time, and time is of the essence. So with a lot of people's dreams, you only have a small time frame that you can work with where you can really make that dream come true. And if you've been lied to, and if you've been deceived to think that your dream wasn't real, now you feel ghosted. Now inside, your heart is injured. You feel hurt. You feel pain, because you're seeing all of these other people who didn't give up on their dreams and making their dreams come true into reality. Because pretty much when you say making your dreams come true, if dreams are considered a lie or a deception, and you're trying to make your dreams come true, what are you saying? That means that through alchemy, you're trying to make something that started out as a lie, and you're using that alchemy to make it become the truth. And when you think about it in those type of words and phrases and definitions, that's virtually impossible, because even if you add truth to a lie, it's still gonna be a lie. If it's 50% lie and 50% true, 50%, that's a F in my book, so it's still a lie, especially if you don't believe in half truths. So a lot of us, we've been taught wrong how to look at these things. We've been taught wrong how to quote unquote interpret these spiritual messages that you receive in the astral realm when you go to sleep. And maybe synonymizing that with the word dream is a deception within itself. Think about it. Shout out to Black Ram 313 with that. That's why when I have a really profound dream about something and it has something to do with my current reality that I'm in now, I don't even call it a dream. I call it a vision, or I call it a spiritual message, or I may even call it a goal, because if you call it a goal, then that also means that now you have to devise a plan so you can reach that goal. And reaching a goal is a whole lot more logical than quote unquote making your dreams come true. But again, it goes back to what is considered a dream and what is considered reality. Now, like I say, some of us would like to argue that this life that we're living in now is nothing but a dream. And when you go to sleep, sleep is the cousin of death. And we all know that our soul travels on the same way that it would if you died. What if when you go to sleep, you actually go back home to your real life, to your real reality? Because I know me, sometimes when I have dreams, I'm literally waking up in a whole different reality, in a place that I've never been before, in a body that I've never seen before, with a family that I've never had before. And I'm literally just going about my everyday life, doing my everyday things that I would do. And then I would go to sleep in that life, and then I would wake up and I would be in this life. I used to have those type of dreams a lot when I was younger. Now when I go to sleep, it's kind of like when you're playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and you want to switch between characters. And once you switch between characters, you pretty much are now controlling that person in what they're doing in their life at the current moment. So I'll go to sleep, and in my dream, it'll be in the middle of the day in my other reality. So I'll just live that for a while. And sometimes they may even intertwine, where I may see people in my dream in my other reality that reminds me, or may actually be the same people that's in the reality that I'm in right now. Because what y'all don't realize is that there are many dimensions to this plane that we're living on, not just the one that you can see right in front of you. Scientists say that the common range of human hearing ranges from about 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. It also states that humans can hear a sound as low as 12 hertz and a sound as high as 28 kilohertz. And you may think that's something, but check this out. A dog can hear sounds up to about 65,000 hertz, which is about 37,000 more than a human can hear. And then on top of that, the bottlenose dolphin has a hearing range from 0.075, which is the lowest, all the way up to over 160 kilohertz. So imagine all of those sounds that dolphin can hear that we can't even perceive to even think that's going on. And even when it comes to vision and color perception, there's animals out there who got not even a third of the faculties that we have in our body, and they can perceive things a lot better than we can. They can see things a lot farther than we can. And I'm just talking about naturally, not with glasses and contacts and telescopes and all of that type of stuff. So what I'm just trying to open y'all mind to realize is that just like how in the dream world there's an astral plane with many different dimensions and things like that not everybody can perceive, in this life it's the same thing. We're on a planet, a plane net that has many different dimensions on it, that unless you're on some DMT, or unless you're on some LSD or some type of mind altering drug, your human eye and your human ears aren't going to be able to perceive every single dimension, only the 3D that we're allowed to see because of the type of beings that we are. And it raises the question again, what if life is nothing but a dream? It goes back to that famous song that Mr. Eliphas Oram Light made back in the 1800s. The one that says, roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Then when you mix it with the other song that Akasha, aka Aaliyah, made about Rock the Boat, it adds another verse to that song. Because while you're rowing your boat gently down the stream, the boat might start rocking back and forth. And while it's rocking back and forth, if you're smart, you would stay in the middle so the boat won't end up toppling over. And sometimes you may have to even change positions. But no matter what, your stroke game with that paddle has to stay consistent, and it has to stay on point, because merrily, 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 life is still but a dream. So while I was pondering over this subject before I pretty much pressed record, I came up with 5 different types types of dreamers that we have out here. And I'm gonna let you decide what you perceive as reality and what you perceive as a dream. Now, the first type of dreamer that we have is the dreamer who doesn't really dream at all, meaning that when you go to sleep, it's just black and then you wake up. Or maybe you dreamed about something and you were so abruptly woken up or something like that you're never ever able to remember your dreams. So it's like they never happened. These are what you call the YOLO, here and now, I sleep when I'm dead. These are these type of people. They're just all about what can I do to make this world that I'm in better suitable for me while I'm here. Because when I die, I'm just gonna be dead and I don't know. But since I don't want to think about that, I'm just gonna make my life super busy because you only live once. Now, the soulless beings that created this system, that has us in this system, like Brother Panic says, the soulless beings that's feeding off of our energy, our innocent energy. Since they don't have a soul, they can't dream either. And this is the way that this system wants you to be, because while your soul is asleep, it's right for the picking for them to feed off of it. And it's crazy because I know a lot of people that's like that. Either their life is super chaotic or their life is super extraneous and borderline depressing. So the second type of dreamer is the dreamer that has dreams and he remembers his dreams, and that's as far as he can go, at least for right now. Now, this type of person, he's your average hotep nigga, and he's your average bare bones conscious type of person. On the negative side, this is the type of people that they're going with emotions, but deep down inside they know that there's more to life than what they're doing, but they're not really putting any plans together to get out of where they're at. But they know that it's not what they deep down inside want to do or want to be. These are the type of people that can talk your ear off and tell you about everything that's wrong with this system. They can tell you about everything that needs to be done and all this other type of stuff. And then when you ask them, okay, what are you doing in your life to incite that change, or what are you doing in your life where you're putting any of that knowledge to work, and he kind of or she kind of looks at you like a deer in the headlights, because you're aware that you're in the illusion, you're aware that you're in the dream, but you're still deciding to stay asleep. Now, on the light side of the game, you got people out there that's doing that spiritual work, and you got people out there that's asking questions and things like that, and when they go to sleep, they're getting their questions answered in the form of a movie, pretty much. So those type of people, they're excluded from this because, you know, they got their dream journals, they're jotting their dreams down, and they're putting it towards making sure that they heed to those dreams, because that's what's going to help you to maneuver through this reality that we're in. Or is it a reality? Maybe it's all but a dream. Who knows? All right, so now you got the third dreamer. Now this is the dreamer, I call this person the lucid dreamer. Now with the lucid dreamer, it's a situation to where that dreamer might have been, I would say, maybe a third through the dream, and then something happens to where he gets this spark to where he figures out that, hey, I'm in the dream right now. And right as he says that, he starts to get full control over not only his body and everything like that, he starts to get full control of the dream world that's around him. So now he's able to interact with the environment that's around him. Now he's able to firsthand be able to kind of control where he's at the current moment. And if he's really advanced, he can then start creating things within that lucid dream that he wants to happen. Now, a good example of this would be that person that was raised up in a very religious type of household or something like that, and then they grew up, and in their younger years they struggled a little bit, they tried to go through the motions, and things just didn't sit right with them. You know, they knew that it was something a lot more deeper than what they're in, so they start going on those stages of enlightenment, and you get to about 2.5. So you got your career, you went through the savage stage, and you got that behind you. So now you got your career popping, you got your money, you got your house, you got all the things that on earth would make you a successful person. So now you're right there knocking on the door of stage 3, and with you knocking on that door to stage 3, this is what's going to help you magically be able to stay at that success for as long as you need to, because we all know that there's a law called rhythm, where, you know, the pendulum swings on one end, but it has to swing the other end. So you're trying to do your best to be able to prolong that pendulum from swinging the other way, aka keeping your success for as long as you can, and making sure that you got all of your potholes filled up and your T's crossed and your I's dotted, so that no soulless being can come in and sabotage what you got going. Now at the end of the day, you know, these soulless beings, they can make a law at the drop of a hat, or they can go against their own law at the drop of a hat. So you'll never be fully safe, aka even though you're in the lucid dream, it's not like you can change the environment of the dream. You can just be consciously interactive with what you already got in the dream, and then you can create other comfortable things in the dream so that even though you're in this environment, at least you'll be straight and at least you'll be taken care of in that type of end. Now, when we talk about the fourth dreamer, I'm gonna stay here for a while because at least if you want to quote unquote have a good life on this earth, I would say that everyone's goal should be the dreamer number 4, because once you get to number 5, it's pretty much murder she wrote for you. And even though we all have to get to number 5 eventually, get in too much of a hurry to get to number 5, because see, number 4, if you can get here, this is what's gonna make earth heaven for you. Now, dreamer number 4, I like to call this person the Astral Traveler. Now, the Astral Traveler, in a lot of ways, he's known as the magician, the true magician. This person right here is so in tune with himself because this person is well into stage 3. And this person, before he even goes to sleep, he's pretty much programming his mind to have a certain type of dream, him being a certain type of person and having a certain type of outcome. And then when he goes to sleep, he's able to live in his own little world, and he's lucid. So that means that once he gets there, he can already control himself as far as that he knows that he's in the dream. He knows what's happening and all of that. And since he's in that state, now he's able to make any finishing touches or any adjustments on the world that he already created for himself. And I can't lie, before I knew the terminology and all this stuff, when I was little, I used to do that all the time without even thinking about it. I would get on my knees and I would say my prayers at night before I went to bed. And then while I was still on my knees, I would ask God, can I have a dream about this? Or can I have a dream that I'm doing that? Or something like that. And then in the dream, it would actually happen. And I would be so happy when I woke up the next morning. Now, these are the type of people that I call the martyrs. They're able to take this system that's meant for you to be depressed and meant for you to be in sorrow and meant for you to be sad and all this stuff, and they're able to use alchemy, and they're able to use magic, and they're able to use all of those spiritual things that we've been blessed to have inside of us and create their own life. And I personally know people who's done this, but while they're in the beginning stages of this, they can be looked at as crazy, delusional, psycho, all of these different demeaning type of terms, because since they're not doing things according to the way this system has programmed you to do things, people have this way of discouraging you out of their own fear, because people fear what they don't understand. And if you're trying to create your own world the way you see it in your own mind, not everybody's going to be able to understand what you're doing. But once it's finished and now you're basking in this success and you're truly free from all of the illusions of this system that everybody else is in, and you pretty much created your own world where you can be prosperous in, this is when, like Brother Panic always say, this is when you become your own light and you shine and you emanate out. And now you got people wanting to learn how it is that you was able to do this great thing. And when it comes to this system of soulless beings who wants you to stay at the dreamer level 1, this is when you become a threat, because the man or the woman that's a dreamer at level 4, you are the free man or the free woman. And this is where I want to bring up our good brother, our good ancestor, Mr. John Witherspoon. And we all know that in the Boondocks, John Witherspoon played Granddad, aka Mr. Freeman. Now, this isn't going to be a full breakdown of John Witherspoon. I haven't really felt led to go into his information like that because he's freshly transitioned, but let's just keep it at the basics. John Witherspoon was born on the 27th. 7 plus 2 is 9, which means that he came here to start and to create something that was going to end up standing the test of time, even though him as a physical body was no longer here. And it's not a coincidence that he passed away on the 29th. 2 plus 9 is 11. And when we look at the number 11 in numerology, it represents the magician. It represents being able to balance out both masculine and feminine, and at will being able to work with either one to get your desired outcome. It represents spirituality, sensitivity, being charismatic, cooperative, and independent, meaning that John Witherspoon, in the state that he's in right now, being our ancestor, is truly the free man. He's truly Mr. Freeman now. And this is very inspiring to me because, as you all know, my last name is Freeman. And even though I'm still in this land of the living, I come across a lot of scrutiny because I still want to keep my soul. I still want to keep my originality, but I have a lot of problems maneuvering in this system because there's just certain things about myself and about who I am that I don't want to compromise. So with me also being the life path number 11, I got to learn how to be able to balance in both sides. And with me being a Gemini, it makes it a little bit it easier, but with me being born on the 22nd, it makes it a little bit harder, simply because in order for me to be the wise man that I know I'm gonna be when I get older, I have to go through a lot of things. And not only that, I'm always placed with people and friends and colleagues and stuff like that who I'm supposed to learn from as well. So literally every relationship, every friend, every so-called friend, every enemy was always meant to be, for me at least, a learning experience, so that when I'm older and I see somebody that got that same type of energy that I have, and I see them going through a situation that I've went past, or I seen somebody else go past it that was in my circle, and I was able to avoid that situation. Now with my light and my wisdom through experiences, I can help guide that person. And I mean, that's what Papa Legba does, right? And I can't lie, this system that we live in, it really have us spoiled. And with us being spoiled in a lot of ways, we're taught to be dependent on this system, and we're taught to believe that we need these things that this system provides. And since they provide it for us, we don't have that wherewithal to be able to create these things, or even want to create these things on our own. So when you look at those survivalists out there and those people who quote unquote live off the grid, a lot of people may look at them as crazy because they may not have the same type of luxury that you and I may have. But at the end of the day, they're a lot more free than we are, simply because with a very, very huge percent of our people, if this system crashes tomorrow, a lot of us will be just running around like a chicken with our head cut off. But those survivalists and those people who are living off the grid, they've been doing that for so long, and they've learned how to sustain themselves outside of this system for so long, they won't even be affected by it, and they'll end up being our teachers. Now you see how it works. And with this being said, I was led to this very, very inspirational YouTuber, and shout out to Isabel, because me and her, we was just having this conversation, and we was just talking about how with the situation that I'm in, with me being on the road and doing show production work and stuff like that, since the work is always me traveling and it's not consistent in one place like I want it to be, it's almost not even feasible for me to get a house like that and be stable in one area, simply because of the job that I have. And then she sent me a video of this YouTuber, and she was like, man, you're gonna end up being the male version of this lady. And I was at work at the time, so I just seen the title talking about a lady living out her van, and I was like, all right, you got jokes. And we kind of laughed it off, and it was just a really, really funny conversation. But on my lunch break, something really urged me to go back to that conversation that we had and look this chick up. And when I tell you, I've damn near watched all of her videos now, and I mean, she's just that interesting, and she's just that inspirational. And when I say her name, y'all probably know who I'm talking about, but her YouTube name is Janelle Eliana. I think that's the name of it. I think that's her name, Janelle Eliana. And she's pretty much this 21-year-old beautiful melanated woman, and she pretty much made a home out of her van, and she pretty much lives out of her van. And she got this pet snake, and they do these videos where she's traveling and going different places around LA and just pretty much just living a free life. And it's funny because one of the things that really drew me to her, I can't lie, it was really my inner child that drew me to her, because of the energy that she had. And I'm gonna explain that in a little bit. But when it comes to our stories and stuff like that, in a lot of ways, they're kind of similar, especially the reason why she started living out of her van. And it was simply because she was just tired of paying that super high rent and having roommates and all those type of things. And with her having that free-spirited type of mindset, she had a dream to travel and go different places and stuff like that anyway. So instead of her being in sorrow, instead of her being in pain and being hurt and being injured emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually and mentally, she decided to take one of the biggest risks, especially for a woman, and just decide to buy a van, decorate it and stuff like that, and turn that van into her home. Now with me, I haven't got to that point yet where she's at. I can't lie, there was a few instances literally recently that I was thinking about it. You know, she got her hashtag called van life. I'm about to have my hashtag called truck life. Because I mean, you know, being a free-spirited person and really living that life of freedom, it definitely has its costs. And if you're not willing to sacrifice, and if you're not willing to take those risks, then you're never gonna achieve that success. And I remember watching a lot of her videos where she was talking about all of the doubts that she had in her mind, and how she really wasn't sure if this was something that she wanted to do. But she pretty much, you know, just took that leap of faith, started making little YouTube videos here and there and stuff like that. And since she was pretty much in a niche, because I tried to look on YouTube, y'all may tell me if I'm wrong, but the hashtag van life, I only see a lot of white people that do stuff like this. So right now, at least as far as when it comes to prestige and popularity, she's the only black girl that I see on here that's even doing something like this. So she pretty much created her own little niche. You know, her videos are very interesting. I like the editing. I really like the type of things that she's doing as far as traveling, and like I said, she's very easy on the eyes to look at too. And when you feel her energy in the videos, she's very, very genuine, and you can really see that innocence in her that I talk about all the time. So I can see how her videos was able to reach millions and millions of views as quick as it did. So now, since she was able to take that leap of faith and take that risk, and she turned her dream into a goal, and now her goals are being accomplished, now she can pretty much quit her job and just do YouTube full time, which is what she did. And I remember looking at this video of her when she first turned 21, and how she was out in nature and she just had a really good day, you know, just her by herself. She wasn't worrying about getting no niggas, you know, she wasn't worrying about all of this minuscule stuff that I see a lot of women that are in this system that we live in, and the stuff that they prioritize. And then I look at this chick and I'll never forget it. She was literally sitting down and she was thinking about all of the stuff that she used to go through when she was still in the system, and she was just thinking about how free and how happy she is in this present moment, and she just bust out and started crying. But the type of crying that she was doing, it was tears of joy, it was tears of freedom, and it was just tears of all of those risks and all of those sacrifices that I made and how they paid off in a way that I never wouldn't have imagined had I not took the risk that I did. And just looking at the smile on her face and just looking at the satisfaction that she just had about just living life, it kind of inspired me in a way, because I literally don't even see that a lot in people in this world in general. And then it was weird, because as I was looking at that, my inner child, my inner Alegua, my inner SU started talking to me, because I was wondering, I'm like, so, you know, inner child, what is it about this woman that you just jump up and down on the inside when I'm about to click on one of her videos and all of this type of stuff? And my inner child was like, because when you go back to the story about Alegua being at the crossroads and being in nature and all of that stuff, this is how Alegua lived. This is how he used to live. He didn't have no set place that he was at all the time. You know, he didn't have no bills and no rent and all of these other things that keep us in this stressful type of mental mindset where you do things that you don't even want to do, but you know you got to do it because I got to get this rent paid. You do it because I got to get these bills paid, and I got to get this mortgage paid, and all of this stuff. And these things keep you gridlocked into one area, and you're not able to travel, you're not able to see the world, and it's just like life is just passing you by, and you look at this world as a hell, while this Janelle Eliana chick, she's looking at this world as her oyster, like you're supposed to look at it. She's looking at this world as a heaven with all of these different opportunities that you can embark on, like you're supposed to look at it. And this is how Alegua looks at the world. This is how SU, when he's a baby, you know, when he's in that childlike form, this is how he looks at the world. And us, when we were children, this is how we used to look at the world. Even that child that grew up in the projects, when he was a child, he didn't know that he was in the projects. He didn't know that he was in the projects until he got older and he got around other classes of people who had a lot more than what he had. And then he seen firsthand how his parents would struggle and all of that type of stuff. And then that's when he kind of got that first sense of what poverty really is. But when kids are born, they don't know about poverty. They don't know about struggling. They don't know about having to sacrifice who you are and hold back who you are just to fit in to a job that you really don't even want to work, but you got to do it to keep the lights on. Lights on? What you talking about? You supposed to be out there in nature. The sunlight is supposed to be your energy. The sunlight is supposed to be your quote unquote lights. Water bill? What water bill? You supposed to be out there in the streams, and you supposed to be out there where the natural water is at, living out there in nature like the way we used to live before we was brainwashed, hoodwinked, and bamboozled by this system that we live in that pretty much took away that natural instinct for us to go out there and explore and conquer and stuff like that. And in my eyes, that's what you truly call a hustler. See, another thing that I really want to talk about is when it comes to what we see as true masculinity, when it comes to hustling and stuff like that, having that type of instinct, we've literally been fooled into using that instinct in a way that nature didn't even intend for us to use it. Now, if you want to see some examples of some real hustlers who can make something out of nothing, literally who can get it out the mud, y'all need to go to this YouTube channel called Building Skill. And every time that I'm in a situation where I feel like that I can't make it, or I feel like I I don't know what to do, or I just feel like that I just can't take it anymore or something like that, I go to this building skill channel and I look at these guys that live in the jungle, and these dudes are able to build houses with whole swimming pools out of mud and out of sticks, and they doing all of this stuff with their bare hands. And the messed up part about it is, if it was an interview process for a woman who wants to be in a relationship with a man in this day and time, a woman wouldn't even look at a man like this as a masculine alpha type of man that you should have on your team. A woman in this day and time wouldn't even look at these type of men as hustlers, these type of men as someone that you would want to marry, someone that you would want to be a father to your children, because all of these skills that they're doing in this video, imagine if they was able to have kids and they passed these skills along to their children. Man, you wouldn't even need this system at that point. And like I said, this is something that this system, soulless beings, dreads to happen. So like I said about the fourth dreamer, he or she represents the astral traveler, the one who's able to take this system and bend it at his or her own will and create your own reality with it. Now, last but not least, this is where we have the fifth dreamer. Now, this dreamer right here is very, very dangerous to himself or to herself. And if you're not balanced with this, and if you get to this point of your life too quickly, because everything, even knowledge, has its own time and season that you're supposed to learn it. If you get here too fast, this is where you get your clinically insane people from. This is where you get your suicidal people from, who always got to be on suicide watch at all times. And this is also where you get your zombified people on the higher realm of things as well, because this is the dreamer, and I call this dreamer the ejector. Now, with the ejector, this is someone who gets into that dream state where they're having a dream, and then they get into the state where they know that they're dreaming, but then they take it a step further, because this person is so conscious that not only that he knows that the dream that he's in is an illusion, he realizes that the dream world itself is an illusion. And since he has the knowledge and the wherewithal to eject himself from the experience and from the dream, he does just that. So with this, I got an example, because I remember I had this dream where before I went to sleep, I was telling myself that I wanted to go to the underworld so I can talk to Akasha and ask her some things. So sure enough, when I went to sleep, I went down to the underworld, where I perceive as the underworld, and I went and talked to Akasha, and she answered a lot of the questions and stuff that I had and all that type of stuff. So now in the dream, I'm on my way out and I'm trying to find the exit door. Now in my version, I have to say this because everybody's version of the underworld is going to be different, but in my version of the underworld, it was like these underground catacomb type of caves. So I'm going around, I'm running around in these caves trying to find my way out, and I start to see this shadow of this guy in front of me. So I kind of keep my distance at first, because I'm like, I don't know who this person is, you know, all this type of stuff. So I'm keeping my distance, and then a patch of light ends up coming around him where I'm able to see what he looked like. And he was a brother, and he kind of looked like a construction worker. So I was like, oh man, he all right, you know, what's up, man? He was like, oh yo man, what's up dude, man, what's good, man? He's like, man, what you doing down here? I'm like, man, I just came down here to talk to Akasha, you know, all of this stuff. And so I was about to go out of this door, and he was like, no, don't go out this door right here, because you don't want them to catch you. You don't want them to catch you. I'm like, who are you talking about? He's like, man, you just don't want them to catch you, man. You don't want them to catch you. They right outside this door. So I advise you to go around this way and take this shortcut, and the exit door will be around this hall or whatever. So I'm like, all right. So I left him, but in my mind, I'm like, man, this dude do not know who the fuck I am. So at this point, I'm still lucid. So I know that I'm in a dream, and I got the knowledge that I need to eject myself if I need to. So I'm like, man, watch this. And I kid you not, you know how I don't know if it was I Dream a Genie or Bewitched, where she'll do the little thing with her nose and then she'll disappear. That's what I did. And so I did the little thing, and I blinked, and when I blinked, I woke up from my dream, and I was just laying in the bed like, wow, did I just do that? So that's one example. Then another example is, this happened, I would say a few days ago. I'm eating at night like I'm not supposed to, and I end up going to bed literally like 20 minutes after I ate, because I was super tired and I had to go to work the next day. So I end up having this nightmare where my mom was running around with a knife trying to kill my dad. It was super funny. So I think she ended up beating him up or something like that. So me and my dad had to end up going to the hospital. You know, I was watching after him and stuff like that. And so me and my dad, we're walking down the hall, you know, he's still in his hospital gown and stuff like that. And then I hear this loud boom, and the hospital doors where the doctors was at, they opened up, and here comes my mom. you know, charging full speed at me and my dad. At that point, my mind kind of shifted and I was like, wait, this isn't real. This is just a dream. My mom would never do this to my dad. And then I did the little I dream a genie thing again, and then I woke up from my dream. I ejected myself from that experience because I knew it wasn't real. Now think about somebody that's going through this type of situation in life. They end up reaching that level of enlightenment that's past stage 3. Now they've completed the bonus stages. So they got that information that not only is this world that we're living in, including the astral realms, when you go to sleep and dream, it's all a part of a simulated illusionary existence. And then they find out what's really real and how to eject themselves from this world to get to that. Now, this is the type of information that these soulless beings really don't want surfaced. And now, since we're in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of information, they know that it's only a matter of time before this comes out. And when this comes out, all of the battling and all of the wars that's going on spiritually as we speak is gonna spill over to the physical realm. And this is why you got so many people in the quote-unquote dominant society talking about building underground bunkers and leaving here, building colonies on the moon and on Mars, and trying to do everything that they can to get off this planet, because they know once shit hits the fan and people really start to find out where they're at and they really start to find out who they are, it's gonna be World War III for real then. Now on the flip side of this, if you wasn't a balanced person and you just stumbled across this information and you really took it in and you took it to heart, this type of information can put you in a type of depression where even the most world-class psychic couldn't even get you out of. This is the reason why there's just certain information when you look back over your life that it was ordained for you not to learn it at an early age, because since you wasn't balanced back then and you found this information out, man, you probably would have went and killed yourself or tried to jump off a bridge and end it all or whatever. And it goes back to what Bobby Hemmett and Brother Panic talks about. They like, man, I'm not a life coach, I'm a death coach. I'm trying to teach you about all the things that you need to know, so when you get up out of here, you won't be looking around like a deer in the headlights and end up being reincarnated back into this world. Because the key is to learn what you need to learn here so you can transition and go to the next plane of existence. Not you being asleep in this world and then you have to repeat it like you being in school and you was fucking around and not doing your schoolwork, coming to class late, calling off from school, knowing that you wasn't sick, missing homework assignments, not doing your classwork, being a class clown and all this type of stuff. And to the other students, yeah, you were entertainment to them, but as far as when that big test comes that determines if you're gonna pass or fail that grade and you fail that class, those same students that you thought was your friend that was laughing at you and laughing with you, so to speak, and you just thought you was just the shit because you was being entertaining in the class, when those students go to the next grade and you held back because you had to end up repeating this grade all over again, now those same students that's in that higher grade, they're going to be looking down at you and they're going to be laughing at you, because while those kids was laughing with you, secretly they was doing the work, secretly they was passing their tests, secretly they was making good grades and all of that stuff, because they was in the world and not of the world. And I remember my mom used to tell me this a lot when I was in school, because I had a very great potential to be the class clown, simply because I'm just the type of person to where if I don't feel like this subject, or if I don't feel like that I'll be able to benefit in a major way from the stuff that I'm being taught, I'll just zone out and just start talking to people and making jokes and stuff like that. Or on the flip side, I would be so much smarter than all of the other students that I would end up finishing my work a lot faster than everybody else. So while everybody else is still doing their work, I'm done. So that's another reason why I would talk and make jokes and make people laugh and all that type of stuff. So you have people in life that's the same type of way. And since I brought up Aaliyah, a good example of this would be her. Her whole life path was to be deified as Akasha, but it wasn't supposed to happen as early as it did. That's why that movie felt like it was rushed and all of that type of stuff, because she truly was going too soon. She completed the main thing that she was supposed to complete way too early, but since she did that, she was ejected from this experience. Just like when you're in school and you pass the grade, you're ejected from the previous grade and you pass on and you transition to the next grade. Now, it's a 1 in a million type of person that's gonna just breeze through school at a young age, and you got a lot of news stories talking about that, where you got 14-15-year-old kids graduating from high school, you got 19-year-olds graduating from college. You know, these students who are extremely smart, and they pretty much got everything that they were supposed to get and they dipped out. And when it comes to this, when it comes to the system of soulless beings that wants to try to keep you being cycled and cycled and cycled into this world so they can feed off of you energetically, they don't want you to get to level 4, and they for damn sure don't want you to get to level 5. This is why the people that's at level 5, most of the ones that's at level 5 who were balanced, they ended up getting killed off or something like that, or silenced in some type of way, because whatever information that got them to that point, those soulless beings do not want that information to come out on a major scale, because it'll kill the system like that. I mean, imagine that you was in school, and see, I was in Memphis City schools, so we had this test called the gateway test, and this gateway test was one of those tests that determined whether you was knowledgeable enough to graduate or not. So imagine if at the beginning of the school year you had the whole gateway test book and the answer key, and you was pretty much able to take that whole school year to memorize that book and memorize that answer key. So when it was time for you to take the test, you just breezed right on through it and passed it with flying colors. Now, if there was a system in place to keep some of those students held back purposely, this is something that they would dread to happen, just like in this system that we live in right now. They don't want that information out to let you know that this whole existence in itself is an illusion, and that darkness that you're in when you go to sleep at night, that's the real reality. And the reason why is darkness, because you can use that darkness, which is pretty much a cosmic womb, and create your own world. You can use that darkness to create your own reality, but the only way that you're going to be able to do that is that while you're on this earth, you got to be able to collect light. Remember that video game about Pac-Man, where the Pac-Man pretty much spent the whole game collecting these little bitty balls of light, and once he got to each corner of the board, there was this real big ball of light, and once he ate that, all of those ghosts that was chasing him throughout the whole game, now those ghosts become food for him, when at first he was food for the ghosts. So now if you're quick enough to catch them, you can run around the whole board eating up all the ghosts. And I can't lie, y'all, that's how y'all have to look at this life. Look at those little bitty balls of light as knowledge, the little nuggets of knowledge that you learn in every situation that you go through, in every risk, in every trial and tribulation that you're going through. And look at these master teachers as the huge ball of light, and you start to ingest the information that they're giving you, that immense amount of wisdom that these master teachers has to offer, and you get enough of that knowledge, all of those soulless beings and all of those issues that's in your life, now you end up feeding off of them, and that's what they don't like. Now they end up being food for you, and you can go around and clean house while creating your own reality in your dreams. So I gotta ask y'all again, if life is but a dream, what is truly reality? So that's my little rant video. Shout out to everybody who stayed to the end of this. Again, shout out to my girl Moyana for the wonderful intro. I really love y'all, soul family. It's gonna be kind of hard for me making more videos. I'm still working on that Michael Jackson video, but with me doing all of this work, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to do the research and stuff like that as of right now. But I'm hoping and praying that I'll be able to get that video out at least before Christmas. So if y'all don't hear from me anymore between now and the 15th, just know that, like that Akon song said, I'm out here grinding. And who knows, I might pop up on y'all and do another one of these little rant videos or something like that here and there. So like I always say, shopmeliamar@gmail.com. If y'all have anything that y'all would like to promote on my channel, I always got my donation links below. If y'all want to so kindly donate to a brother that is out here in the struggle, y'all mean it be hard out here, y'all. It be hard. It be hard out here. But I really appreciate all of y'all for checking out my videos and stuff like that. And think about that, y'all. You know, think about all of those dreams that you left behind, and how many of those dreams can you actually turn into a goal, so you can put a plan behind it, so that that dream can now become your reality. And think about how better of a person you're going to be, and how much more happy and how much more joyous you're going to feel in your life living the dream. So as we always say, BandClap TV, we out, and stay shining, stay shining.
I would like to get to know if I could be the kind of girl that you could be down for. 'Cause when I look at you, I feel something change.